How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Jason?
Hello.
Hey, Jason.
Hello. You know that I'm a technical support professional, right? For the last 2 weeks, I have been having huge issues with Comcast, which is my ISP provider. Definitely DNS related. I can access some sites, but not other sites from all the devices in my house. So it's the router, their DNS. They don't have an ability, they don't get the ability to change DNS on the router. And I have spent probably a total of 18 hours on hold or waiting for the callback from Comcast, and it's still not working. So I am on T-Mobile hotspot, just like ridiculous. It's impossible to. It's just beyond
And what if they have to
frustrating.
pay for themselves, or you can't get hold of them to even get a response?
You cannot get hold of them. So there is a trick that you have to go through to get to the right person. And what's interesting is that I had the misfortune of having Comcast as my enterprise customer in 2 companies, Juniper and then at Harmonic, their cable side. And they're the most demanding, rude, overbearing assholes that I have ever had the pleasure to work with. Just demanding to get immediately to the top of every escalation, even though the issue may not be all that different. So Comcast.
Yeah, we've got Cox, and they are the sole provider for the entire town, which is just a very bad solution in my.
Comcast is like essentially the only broadband provider in my area. Their support is just horrible, and it just hurts me personally to experience bad support, like really, really, really bad support. It just like painful. Because like every step of the way, I see the failure and I know exactly how to fix it, and nobody will bother to fix it ever. Okay, I'm done with my update.
So maybe Shelly was on another call or something. Should we get started?
Yeah.
Here she is.
I clicked Lala's old link.
I used my old link last time.
Such a dummy.
Okay. Cool. We're all here. Hey, Shelly. So, who would like to kick us off? Who has some good news for us?
I don't have any news, so I can go first and be quick. Literally no news. So the second interview I had with the hiring manager 10 days ago now, haven't heard anything. So either they are still interviewing or they're working through with someone else, and then and I'm further back in the line, so haven't heard anything there. And
For the bank, Michael?
At the bank, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I haven't heard anything on my old consulting firm. I spoke to the partner yesterday who said, "Oh, let me give you an update." So something's either going slow or I wasn't the right person, but that's kind of fallen away. And then my contact had early warning, which I was kind of hopeful for, but apparently they're having some budgetary issues. So no great change. I did apply for some good 2 good jobs yesterday. I actually applied for 3, but 2 good jobs yesterday where I was able to have an SVP refer me, or I put them down as a contact. And so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no news literally, which I'm not reading as a particularly positive thing. So that's my update.
Okay, thanks, Michael. I guess be patient, like we've all said. Maybe it's
Yep.
a different timeline. But, all right.
I can go next.
You, yeah.
Yeah, so one thing I suppose I'll take it as a positive. That Apple role that I talked about I don't know if it was last week or the week before, where I kind of didn't present great. I thought that one was dead. It had been like 2 weeks since when I had that more than 2 weeks since I had that presentation. I followed up with the recruiter and I got sort of the stall. I'm waiting for feedback, haven't heard anything yet. So I was about to mark that one as just kind of dead. And then yesterday the recruiter reached out and said, we want to schedule time with you. And so I was like, oh, okay. So that was sort of like an unexpected positive, I think. I thought it was dead. I guess they're just really slow. But or who knows what happens. I don't even want to think about what else could have happened. But so that's good. I think that's a positive.
Rishi, can I ask, when did you follow up with them? Because for me, I'm kind of like, it'll be 2 weeks on Friday.
Yeah.
And maybe just prompt that. I'd kind of planned to prompt the recruiter then just to see if I could.
I did it like a week and a half.
Okay.
From the time that I had the last call or the last that presentation.
Okay.
And then then I heard back from the recruiter, I think the next day. So, so it's just kind of like a quick, hey, I don't have anything yet. And then it was another week, I think. Yeah, another week until when I then got this message back. So maybe it's just going slow. Definitely slower than we'd like. I would appreciate more communication, but that's maybe what I would do, Michael.
Yep. Thanks.
So is there anything that we can help you think through, whatever this next call is going to entail?
Maybe. So I have another friend, and that I hadn't caught up with in a while. He was interviewing for a different role at Apple. He actually just got the offer, I think, yesterday or Friday. And he had gone through basically the same kind of steps, presentation and then the skip level interview. And so I asked him, what the skip level interview was like. He said, just prepare to reaffirm the things that are in the job description. Don't kind of go outside of that. It's more of just a rubber stamp to make sure that they don't think you're weird or crazy or anything like that. And so just kind of stay within the guardrails. That was kind of his advice, which seems appropriate, but I was going to just try to stick to that pretty tight script and answer questions, just be brief.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think we've talked about before. Basically, just you need to do two things. One, show that you're pleasant, likable person, right? And that you know your stuff. And your stuff is the stuff that's in the job description, right? And if there's one other opportunity to go, 90 seconds deeper into a really specific, really relevant story, have one of those. But I feel like you know enough about the position and you've already gone through the questions, right?
Yeah.
You've already gone through at least 2 or 3 rounds of questions. Is there can you remind us again what you felt that you didn't do as well on in the presentation and see if that's something that you want to circle back on or stay away from or something?
Yeah, it was so in one of my stories, I just got really long-winded unnecessarily in the story. I think I probably went like 4 levels deeper than I really needed to go in explaining it, and just it's like one of those things you want to show your expertise, but then too much is not helpful either. People just kind of get lost and glaze over after a while. I think I need to just tease it or just show a little bit and give them a glimpse, and then if they want to go deeper, I can let them lead me deeper.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're going to be talking to someone who's more senior, and we know, especially at a big, huge company like Apple, the titles are not aligned with most other companies. Like a director at Apple is typically like even equivalent to like an SVP at some other companies, right? I mean, so I don't know what level this person is, but
Yeah.
all right.
I'm guessing this would be some kind of director person.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, it sounds like you have a solid plan, and I think that's really good news. We'll keep your fingers crossed for you, of course. Anything else that you've seen that's interesting?
I don't know if it's interesting. I was listening to a podcast just this morning, talking about like marketing and AI. I know it's a little bit specific for marketing, but they were talking about just how companies are handling hiring in the AI age. And what scared me a little bit was this idea of, some companies saying, if you want to add headcount, you need to prove that you can't automate or do that with AI.
Yeah, I've seen that phrase. Maybe it's a meme that's sort of going around. I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the fintechs do that. Klarna, I know, is a big proponent of that. Better known in Europe than the US, and I think to a certain extent, Block as well. They've been moving in that direction.
Yeah. And so I think that's hitting marketing hard. I think maybe for more of the digital transformation stuff, I think that's perhaps harder to do with AI and automation. But I think that's hitting my domain pretty hard.
That's such a ridiculous statement. Ridiculous and ill-informed, because that's not how things work.
Yeah, I agree, Lala. Although, Rishi, I feel like from anything any of us can sort of tell from the outside, Apple seems to be, of a lot of big, really prominent companies, maybe the most dedicated to protecting its staff and growing its headcount, right? And really relying on expert knowledge workers like yourself, as opposed to just trying to, streamline everything and cut costs. Maybe we don't really know, but I mean, Apple's the one who's had the fewest layoffs of any of these really big prominent companies. Whether we're talking about, the big FANG tech companies or finance or whatever, right? So I think,
Yeah.
and that's probably,
That's true.
a little bit of a better sign. But yeah, I mean, whether we agree with that statement or not, it seems like it's at least some kind of a reality that we have to think about or be aware of.
I mean, I heard this week that Microsoft, like 20 or 25% of their code is being written by AI, but a lot of it takes a lot of management. So code approval is, everything needs to be reviewed, but the initial pass has been written by AI, but then you need to have experienced software developers going through it and making updates, but they'll get you to a semi-reasonable baseline.
I'm a
Right.
huge advocate of AI, as you guys know. So if routine, basic jobs can and should be automated, and self-service in my field is really huge. Benefit the customers. What I'm pushing back on is on the blanket statement that you have to prove that you need a human for that. It's just ridiculous.
I think it's short-sighted. Yeah.
It is very short-sighted. Yes, that's exactly right.
All right, good. Well, Rishi, obviously post something on Slack or reach out if there's anything else you want to chat about. I'm imagining you're going to hear from the recruiter first, right? And they're
Yeah.
going to say something and then probably set up something else. So if you want to practice or bounce any ideas all around, of course, just let us know. But yeah, again, it sounds promising for that one. All right, Lala, how are you feeling?
So I haven't heard anything back from the hiring manager since I sent him the proposal. They had their major user conference in Vegas this past week, so I can imagine he was busy. I was also wondering if I should follow up or not. It's not likely that it has fallen off his radar, but on the other hand, reaching out would be restating my interest, but I think my interest was already well stated. I had another thought, but that may be just too much. So I have been a judge for the top 10 support websites competition run by Association for Software Professionals for many years, and I have done a lot of analysis of support site. So I thought I could just go ahead and analyze their support website and give some input, but it may be just like too much. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it couldn't hurt to do that and have it in your back pocket, as it were, but I don't know. My guess would be,
It's like trying too hard.
maybe. I think less than trying too hard, it would just be like another set of data points he sort of has to sift through. My guess would be
Yeah.
he probably just needs the headspace to focus and circle back. I don't think, knowing that there's this, something else big that he was very likely involved in, if still give him a few more days or another week or something and check back in. I wouldn't just I wouldn't reach out and also send that analysis. I don't think, again, it's just something that if it came up in a conversation, it would be amazing to show it, right? But I think just showing it, and it's going to be a little potentially a distraction. I don't think you have to worry about trying too hard because, I mean, clearly you're interested. He knows you. He knows your quality of work, and he knows you're looking for a job, which lots of qualified people are. So yeah, I mean that's just a guess.
And my gut feeling is give it a few days, but then one thing that I'm struggling with as a result of this whole web search is kind of my confidence is waning. So I second guess myself. That's why you guys are so important, because you can set me straight. I'm like beginning to doubt myself when in a situation where I would never doubt myself in my decision making.
I just want to chime in here. I think if he was at a conference, you're, busy with that, and your proposal was sort of a big vision change, right? So it's not like something that somebody's going to be able to make a quick decision on. They probably have to
Right.
pull back, talk to some other people. Do you say he's kind of new to the organization anyway?
Yeah, he's been there for I think 6 months.
So he might not be all
3
that
months.
confident. Yeah, he might not be super confident in taking a big proposal forward. So he might be trying to tease it apart and figuring out how he can sell it. I mean, there could be all sorts of things. I mean, I think your proposal was brilliant, and it shows that you're forward thinking. And so I'm kind of with Jason on this one. I think it's maybe a bit
Thank
more
you.
time, but it was last week that you sent it to him?
I sent it to him. Yes, I sent it to him last Sunday night, so he got it Monday last week in the morning. He responded,
Okay.
I will take a look at it on Monday morning.
Yeah, so maybe the end of this week, early next week.
Yeah.
Check in.
Yeah,
Okay.
either Thursday Wednesday or maybe
Okay.
until the following Monday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to share a funny story. I had a guy reach out to me, my former coworker from Intuit, asking if he can pick my brain. So we had a chat yesterday, and it looks like I will have a consulting gig out of that. But he was trying to pick my brain on the knowledge management and self-service, and in the conversation, it became very clear that he has no idea what he's talking about in the knowledge management concept. Like, really doesn't. Like, I had to give him like the fundamentals. Like, there are 3 types of knowledge articles, and he's like taking notes, which is really cute. So we talked about the knowledge management and the principles and how I would like approach it. And he said, asked if he can hire me to bring him up to speed. And he also said that he probably will be paying out of his own pocket for this, because he was hired to lead self-service efforts at this company, and they think that he knows all about knowledge management, and he doesn't. So his title is like Global Head of Digital Self-Service. And
Wow.
How did he slip through?
I know. And I had to go look through my archive to see if I applied for this job, because he's only been there for like 3 to 6 months, also like very, very recent, 3 months, I think. And that would have been a job I would apply for, and that like I'm eminently qualified. But it's just I'll have to give him knowledge management 101 at the friends and family rate, I guess. But it's just, with like all of us and all of these other people that are eminently qualified and really experts on their field, and then you have this thing, like guy being hired at a prominent company for a position that he's absolutely not qualified for. And budget is frozen, so he cannot like bring me on as an official consultant for the project. So
Charge him a lot.
yeah.
Make him pay.
He's a nice guy, but it's just, and he's humble enough to recognize that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's like, so how he's like, how long have you been doing KCS? It's well, like 25 years. Yep. So that's my update. So, and I don't have kind of motivation or energy to apply for anything right now. It's just like I'm in this holding pattern. So I think I'll just stay in this for until I hear one way or another. And it's not like there is a lot of jobs popping up. I like keep an eye on that. If there were something like really, really important, I would jump on. So there's my update.
All right. Well, thanks, Lala. And yeah, I mean, just try to stay as positive as you can and lean on us as much as you
Oh,
like.
in an odd way, this experience is actually kind of inspiring, because like if he can get this job.
Yeah, no, that's probably about the most positive way to look at it, right? So clearly there was some sort of random serendipity that must have been at play, right?
Yep.
Knows whatever.
So maybe the random serendipity will kick in, or maybe it will rub off on me if I work with him. But it's just hilarious. Yeah. So that's Shelley, you had your interview, right? How did that go?
Yeah, that was Wednesday. It was with the recruiter. It went really well. He really liked my resume. He liked my experience. I did the spiel, kept it short. It was really good. It was positive. He said he was going to be interviewing last week and this week and would get back to me this week. I haven't heard anything yet, but it's early. The thing is that I don't know if you've all heard about this, but the government, the Department of DOJ, there's a lawsuit, or actually they've already ruled on it for Google search monopoly with Chrome, that they're breaking antitrust rules and that they're trying to break up Google, and this includes Chrome. Well, it turns out Firefox is built on top of Chrome. And
Ah.
so if they're going to have to divest or not work with Chrome, this could totally blow up Firefox. Like I've got this article I'm just looking at. So the Firefox CFO testified on Friday that this could put them out of business. So I'm like, oh, great. I mean, what's happening now is Google is going to, what do they call it? Appeal it, yeah. And so it could be tied up in the courts for a while, but I don't know if there's any implication with this position because Firefox is their main product. You know, if it said in the article they'd have to lay off, like it says Firefox makes up to about 90% of Mozilla's revenue, according to their CFO. So I don't know, they'd have to lay off a bunch of people, and yeah, said we'd have to make significant cuts across the company. So I don't know. I mean, I just, I think what I have to do is mentally prepare and pretend that we're moving forward and that I'll get through, and then I'm going to have to prepare for the interview with the chief operating officer, who is also the VP of operations for Firefox. So she has that dual role. She's the COO of the foundation, which is the overarching umbrella. And so I think in addition to me preparing to talk to her, I have to prepare to have a conversation about this, you know, what's going on. I tell you what, after I've been thinking about this, so I just got this yesterday, this information. And I was thinking, oh my God, do I want to go work for another unstable organization? Like, you know, I'd have to really think about it. But I think the pay could be, even if it's short term, 3 times more than what I'm making right now. So maybe it's worth it for me to jump ship, go to another unstable organization where there's a lot of chaos, and make a bunch of money and try to, wait until something better comes along. I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see. You just, take one step at a time. But that was not great news yesterday.
Can I jump in with some comments?
Yeah.
First of all, we are all hard pressed to find an organization that is stable right now. Nothing stable. So that's one. It's just because there is this thing is not making it more or less stable than anything else. Everything is in flux. There is no guarantee. This thing has been going on for a very long time.
Right.
I was actually on a mock jury for one of their lawsuits, which is funny. It's an interesting experience. So people who are interviewing you are well aware of this. It's not news to them.
Right.
So, and just because they're moving forward with that means that they feel confident that at least that for the foreseeable future that will not be impacted. With all the appeals and the process, it will drag on for, I would be surprised if it's less than a year, probably more. And it's a great experience. It's a great company, and it will look great on your resume. And it's a brilliant entry into that space. So I would not worry about it too much. And also I would not necessarily spend a lot of time preparing for talking about this, because that's not expected of you. It's like there are wheels within the wheels, and you have no visibility into what's happening and what their strategy is, and it's just so complex and opaque that if that were me, I would just ask, how worried are you guys, or something like that, or just express kind of compassion and empathy. That I know it's a sort of uncertainty, but
Yeah. Well, the
I
title,
wouldn't-
the role is head of strategy and portfolio operations. So there's definitely going to be some, part of my job would be managing the strategy. But
I wouldn't be
just saying to
leading
you-
with that. Like, you don't have data points
Yeah.
to talk about strategy
Oh, yeah.
in that aspect.
no, I'm not suggesting that I would lead with it, but I would
Right.
might ask the question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and I also think that Lala's wording, even instead of putting on the spot and saying, "How worried are you about this?" Maybe just say something like, "I'm just curious what generally what you all are thinking about this, because it seems like potentially a really big deal based on the news stories I've read." Maybe that would be enough just to demonstrate. All you're trying to demonstrate is that you've done
I'm
some
aware.
Yeah.
you've done some homework, looked up their
Exactly.
name in recent news,
Yeah.
and you've looked at their their press releases or something. That's
Right.
all you need to prove there. I mean,
Yeah.
if they do then say, if she does say, "Thanks for bringing that up, Shelley," I mean, it's of course it's important to be aware about that. Obviously, I can't give away any details. It's pending litigation, but depending on how it goes, it could potentially be really impactful to our organization. No question. That would be about the best that you would do. I don't think you need to probe
Right.
any more than
Right.
that. And I would think it would be like there would be a 0% chance that she would come back and say, "I don't know, Shelley, what do you think about it?" Because it's
Yeah.
just
Right.
it's total
Right.
speculation. So
I just want to demonstrate that I'm aware, that I'm paying attention, that I'm not sitting here in a bubble, like that I don't know anything about it, because that would be kind of, bad
exactly, yeah,
from a
right.
strategy perspective.
Especially since
So
it's such a major event that's impacting potentially the whole internet software industry, right? So yeah, you need to be aware of it if it comes up and you mention that. I mean, hopefully when you get that far, there'll be plenty of other things that you genuinely want to ask questions about,
Yeah.
that maybe talking about the current events or a pending lawsuit might not even really be necessary. You might be able to just demonstrate your interest and your competencies, your curiosity and everything. Just, I think, potentially through other things that would come up organically, either with the next call with the recruiter or with the woman herself.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So I'm going to spend a little more time trying to prep with anticipating what questions she might ask. She's the COO of the foundation, and then the VP in the Firefox. But reporting to her as the COO of the foundation. So I'm trying to anticipate, and I'm going to use Claude to help me anticipate some of the questions that she might ask, because they're going to be different than like a regular SMO, about my experience and background, the things she's going to care about. So yeah, any suggestions on prep for that? I'm happy to.
yes, so
Yeah.
I was going to demo my usage of Notebook LM, and I think that's exactly pertinent to this, because that's how I'm using it
cool.
for research. So when I get the floor, I will talk about this.
Great.
So Shelley, I think this is a win already, as I think I mentioned in a text or something, but the fact that you went from feeling so unprepared to really being able to practice, and you have the skills to research and do well and match up your background with a good opportunity. So I think just continue on the same path. Let me just give a super short update. Nothing really good. I did get one. It's actually, I've been working on it this past weekend. One very small, just like a web usability project, a friend of a friend, that I was working on, and we have one call on Friday. It's going to be done. I think it's going to be finished after that. But I just said I would be available. They have some contractors who are doing some website work for them. I think they just have paid this initial amount. They don't want to pay more. So I said I could be available potentially to help. They have no technology. They have no tech skills at all. They wouldn't even know how to open up WordPress and make some text changes. So, but anyway, so that's at least something that I was able to help with, and they'll get a tiny bit of money for, and made me feel like, oh yeah, I actually do know something that's of value. So there's that. Oh, and then remember I mentioned I had this former colleague that was in town a few weekends ago, and there's a possibility working with him. So I did just hear back from him yesterday, and he said that he did mention this idea to his new boss, and she didn't say no. So I guess that's a positive. It wasn't like outright, no way, we're not doing that. He just said that he's like, he's going to set up an intro with her um, sometime in the next couple of weeks, whenever he can figure it out. So at least that might again be some possible warm lead for a part-time thing. I am seeing jobs that I'm applying for all the time. I mean, most of them are just the jobs that I'm really interested in, and I feel like I'm really qualified for, that seem like a decent organization. I just feel like they're so like few and far between. And then when I get a chance, I'm like, I really want to write a cover letter and really tell them why I think I'm a good match. Half the time, it's just some bullshit workday thing where you just like, how are they going to judge based on the half-ass shit that's imported into Workday? Like, why even bother? You know? I mean, that would be like
I
your
have
boss.
the same feeling about Workday whenever I upload stuff in there. I'm like, this is just a waste. This is
Yeah, I mean, that'd be like searching on Redfin for a house and glancing, oh, looks good, I'm going to buy it. I mean, you would never do that, right? You would do a lot more work. And anyway, so that's been particularly frustrating. I'm still applying for these part-time content AI things, which, I mean, it's just a mess, but
What are you searching for when you're looking for those part-time content AI
well,
jobs?
so
What's
something
your
that worked
query?
is just SME, just search on subject matter, just those 3 letters.
Mm,
And again, search on like, use your little trick to change the number of seconds to be like the last 12 hours.
yeah.
Turn on easy apply. Just try to find the ones that seem like the lowest amount of friction to get in. And obviously, if they have 300 applicants, don't bother. But um, it's
If
not.
it's low friction, why not apply anyway?
Yeah, it can't hurt. I mean, especially if you think you have something that's gonna. But then a lot of them seem like a bait and switch, or you get a call from an AI, or I have to do an interview with an AI thing online, and it barely works. So there's a lot of just idiotic frustration in there, but I'm still applying for those just because I feel like I need to do something. But that's it for me. So clearly not feeling good about any of that, but I don't know what else to do. So um, anyway, Lala, why don't you show us
Yeah.
this
Okay.
Is it okay if I record this, Lala?
It's recording. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. You've got your
No,
own.
go ahead. But go ahead.
Well,
Double recording is better than.
Is Fathom better because it has notes and summary and stuff like that? And then
Just go ahead and record.
okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
So here is my notebook LM. I have a notebook. I have a Plus, and I don't remember if I have Plus through T-Mobile or Xfinity, but it's a free Plus. I can look it up to figure out where I got it, because I'm certainly not paying for it. The advantage of Plus is that you can have many more notebooks, and you can have up to 300 sources per notebook, as opposed to 50 for the free version. So I use it for. So I used to have a read later app. First I used Pocket, and it's a mess. I was using Readwise, but it just becomes this big bucket of stuff that I put into read later, and I never do. So I switched to Notebook LM to be my read later tool that can also provide intelligence and analysis. And if I'm interested in a particular topic, I will go and ask. So for example, I'm collecting information on support tech, like what's the latest on support, like articles I come across, conversations, comments. I dump everything into Notebook LM. AI content on YouTube, presentations, webinars. So as you can see, it has, you're all probably familiar with this, but you have sources of different kinds. And then the new feature that they added recently is mind map. And I find that to be one of the really brilliant ways of looking at things, because it creates this high level view of everything that I have accumulated. So it shows me that I have content on all of these aspects which are critical for support. So if I'm working on escalation management application, I will look at these topics and then go deeper. And then I have a support budget versus case volume, and then I can go back and ask a question from Notebook LM. What is, please provide me a detailed overview of the support budget versus case volume as it pertains to escalations, or what is the impact on customer churn. But it's a good roadmap, high level visibility into what's in there and what I can lean on for support. And I use mind maps extensively in my workflows and in research. So that's that way of presenting information really speaks to me.
Well, Lala, while the presentation is the visual presentation is slightly different, is this similar to the projects on Claude?
No, it's not. It's somewhat different.
Okay.
The projects on Claude, you load stuff, but it will not do anything with it until you ask. And it doesn't have the sophisticated tools that Notebook LM has. Notebook LM is great for research. So let me just go back to.
Sorry, maybe I missed. Is this the free version, or did you pay for this?
Mind map is available in free version.
Okay.
Advantage of the paid one is that you can have many more sources, but you can.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, but it's super easy to create a mind map. You just go into this chat section and create a mind map. And also you can create a briefing document, and it gives you a very detailed overview of everything you put in there, which is not something that Claude will easily do. Claude gets kind of confused if you have too many documents in the project. You have to converse about a specific document directly. This is done automatically, but I have a YouTube video presentation from consortium that talks about the AI and KCS, and it gives me a detailed transcript, and then I can go and ask specific questions. So for your use case, Shelley, assembling information about your the company that you're researching, I start with, if it's something completely new to me, and I do deliberate research, I start with Perplexity, which is also free. So I was doing research on Rackspace when I was applying to it, and so I went to Perplexity and asked it to give me information on Rackspace. The advantage of Perplexity is that gives you sources with detailed links and references. They can then pick as a link and put them into Notebook LM. So here's my so I have multi-cloud links, and then I asked Notebook LM to give me a summary, and it gave me a very detailed overview of what Rackspace does and what the multi-cloud is, and I can go as deep or as wide as I want. So every time I'm like engaging with a company on a somewhat deep level, I start a notebook, and I have a casse is the one that I'm talking about. So I pulled in a lot of links on what they do, what's their positioning in the workspace. So I have, as you can see, like a whole bunch of links that I found through Perplexity. They have Notebook LM has a new feature called Discover that it actually does the search for you, but I haven't tested it, so I don't know how good it is. But just providing a whole bunch of sources and then asking it to assimilate, aggregate, and then you go ask questions to dig deeper on, like, can you tell me more about this? Or can you provide a detailed overview of the competitive strategy? Or pretty much any analysis that you provide the links or content for. It has a lot of types of content that you can import. So you can upload PDFs, can upload audio recordings. You can get Google Docs links directly. You can provide links to the website and YouTube, and it does YouTube analysis really well. And you can also copy paste stuff that you cannot access any other way. Let's see.
Hey, Lola, I have a quick question about
Yeah,
that.
go ahead. Mhm.
So, in that last example that you were,
Mhm.
that you had up, and so you had all your sources, you asked it a question, then it produced the results on the right where it says studio. It's got,
Mhm.
is that just keeping track of each of the, the queries or the notes, or like, how are you storing all that? Because I started playing around a little bit with
Right.
Notebook LM and I didn't get that far.
That's a great question. So the chat itself is transitory. So if you don't save it, it goes away when you refresh the page.
Yeah, okay.
But there is, you can do save to note,
Okay.
and then it becomes a link here in the studio.
Okay.
So you don't lose it. So everything that mind map, it saves automatically, but the conversations that you're having in the chat, let me find a notebook where I had more conversations. I was asking questions, but it didn't say them. Oh, here we go. This one. So I have a whole bunch of stuff on AI, and some of it is I just need to wait it. There's a lot of prompts information out there. Some of it is ridiculous, some of it is really useful, and I'm not going to waste my time reading all of it. So I just load all of those prompts, 10 prompts to do this, 3 clever prompts to rule them all, and then after I have accumulated about several dozen of them, I asked Notebook LM to give me a detailed summary of all the prompts, categorized with detailed links and so it's an effective prompting guide. So here's a list of prompts, summary of the usage arranged in a logical order. So if I'm brainstorming on something and I need an inspiration on how to create a prompt, I can go here and it will retain the link to where that prompt was discussed in the original source.
Are those
Mhm.
generated from this Notebook LM, those links,
Yes.
or is that from your Perplexity thing? It's from this.
It's what I put in as sources.
I got it. Okay.
So it's these things.
Yep.
That's the big difference between this and a lot of the other tools where, and there's also a sense of state or memory here, right?
Yeah.
What's the limit in terms of sources?
It's 50 on the free version, and it's 300 on
the paid
one. And I think the biggest one I have is like 110 sources. But at some point you get too many sources, and then it gets confusing to me, not to Notebook LM. So I would create. So I have a notebook called Organizing and Productivity that has 32 sources, but it's both digital productivity, work productivity, and organizing your space. So I'm going to separate this into two separate categories, because I have great ideas on organizing your pantry next to the building your personal knowledge management system. It made sense at first, but then it just it's divergent. So going back to, let's just use this as an example. Yeah, so you can unclick everything, and if you want to have a conversation on just subset of them, you select them and ask NotebookLM to give you a summary of the sources that were selected. So you can keep the high level bucket of everything, but then it can be very specific when you're doing research on something in particular. It is especially relevant to things like support tech for me, or just something about search, KCS, for example. Another, so I developed this framework for role selection with Claude. So I have a structured document that describes the how to evaluate the job listings that I have on particular parameters that are important to me. So I worked on this with Claude. I saved the Claude artifact as a document. I put it as a source in NotebookLM. And then when I have new resumes, I will drop them in as sources, adding them here, and then ask NotebookLM to assist it based on this priority framework. So I don't have to go through the explanation on what am I doing. And then when I'm done with those job ratings, I just delete them and just keep the framework. So it's my kind of analysis document. Have a lot of stuff on leadership. One thing it doesn't take is direct links to the websites that are behind the paywall. So I cannot drop the links to HBR, but I can copy paste it as a text, or I save them as PDFs and then drop here. But there is a lot of HBR articles. And it's another mind map for that's helpful for me in my fledgling career strategy practice, but also just something that I'm deeply interested in. And my daughter is so we're having a lot of conversations about career development and leadership, because she has been in this role for a year, and she just wants to be a director. She's probably actually quite qualified for, but not in but just a year in the professional world. So Mom would want to be a director. Yes.
Sorry. How would you use this for prepping for an interview then? Would you load up all the company sources and like all the interview prep stuff that because I've got like documents on that I grabbed, created, and just ask it questions to help, focus the interview, or how would you use it?
So I use it for analysis. So let's go back to Rackspace. Actually, I deleted a lot of them because I just kept the summary. So that's probably not the best example, but let's look at pure. I think it's the one problem I have is that you cannot sort, and it just shows you the latest. When you touch it, it shows up on the top. It's just because I haven't done detailed analysis, but I load everything I could find, not everything, but everything of interest. And then I asked it to give me overview of their That's that's how I was building my proposal for escalation management. I loaded my sources, my work on escalations, my work on knowledge management, and voice of the customer, and I asked it to aggregate based on what I have provided. For specific, so I asked a question on are they more prominent in specific verticals? Like, is Kaseya vertical specific, or they're not? And it gives me an analysis on. Sorry. So this piece is from my conversation with. I think this is Gemini, but or Perplexity. This is from Perplexity. So I saved it as a document, and then I just Google Docs, and then I brought it here as a source. So it's so I collect as much information as I have. I get it to analyze. To prepare for the interview, I would actually go back to Claude. I would save these as briefing documents and all of the conversations, and copy paste it to Claude and say, well, based on this, because Claude doesn't necessarily have like the latest information, and it is not built for research as much as NotebookLM. So you have your research materials here, and then you bring it into Claude and say that based on this job description, my resume, profile of the hiring manager, and this background information on the company, plus your background knowledge on the company that you already may have, what would be the questions? Help me prepare. Suggest 20 interview questions that I'm likely to hear in the conversation with the hiring manager or program manager or recruiter.
Got it. That's helpful. I get that.
So what I love about this is that it gives you the source. So it aggregates it, but if I want to go back to the original source where it got it from, it's right there at the click.
Got it. That's helpful.
So remember that it will not save the conversation unless you save it as a note, and you can also copy to the clipboard and then put it in Claude or some other source. It does the audio overview, so if you are processing information in audio more than visual, that's another great tool. And then the studio has its own tools. It's a little bit confusing because some of the tools are in the chat, some of the tools are in the studio, but in the studio you have this podcast type, which is actually really great, insightful, and you can have a conversation. So it's a conversation between two hosts, and they're discussing this stuff. And you can join the conversation and ask questions of the hosts. And it's remarkably like in preparation for if you collect technical background on the company or industry, it generates study guide, which is also helpful, like everything you need to know on this particular narrow topic. I do briefing documents on everything. The briefing document is created at the moment when you click it. So if you add more sources, it will not be part of the briefing document. So I just delete the briefing document and generate a new one as I add sources. Okay, any questions?
But once you do all this, you still think it's better than to put a summary in Claude and ask Claude for the suggestions on interview prep questions.
Yes, but it's getting better and better every time. Like it's almost like every week they have an update and it makes it more. But I find conversational style of Claude still better. This is a little bit, I don't know, too formal, stilted. So it's a great research analyst, but Claude is more human.
Okay, but in
And
theory,
for the interview, you want to have like kind of a human touch.
right. But in theory,
Okay.
you could just put all these things into a notebook,
Oh, sure.
then
sure.
ask Notebook LM to suggest based
Yep.
on this information, give me
Yep.
10 questions.
Yep. Yeah. I haven't done it since their latest update because I wasn't preparing for any interviews. But I just love that I can keep, like, I listen to Ezra Klein religiously, and he has some great stuff, but I forget and I don't remember where I heard something, so I just keep his podcast that I was particularly interested in here, and I can then go and like, what did Ezra Klein say about this topic or that topic? And I don't know what one other little bit annoying thing is that it names the notebook. It's by the first source you loaded, and then I have to go edit it. But it also assigns the icon that it thinks is relevant to the first source, and I don't know why it has the cat in the philosophy notebook, but
You see, I
it's
did, if you go back to that page, I was circling where they do have a sort. I think you must have missed that.
say that again.
If you just go back to the main page, can you see where I was highlighting?
Do the back bar, the back arrow, yeah.
Yeah, right here. It's you can see this
Most recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you said you couldn't
Oh.
figure out how to sort, so I think you
Oh, okay.
look past that.
Yeah, I didn't look at this. Thank you. Yes.
So probably you can sort it alphabetically or by most recent.
Okay, that would be okay. That's new. I don't think it was there. Thank you. Thank you for pointing out. But I wish I could change the
title. Yeah.
the title. Like the title is changeable. You
Okay.
can edit title, but what you cannot edit is the avatar.
I see.
And some of it is some of it is random. I don't know why you have this bald guy in the recipes notebook.
Oh, God.
I just
Yeah.
thought that was your sense of humor with the icons.
So it just interprets the first source you load, and then it's and going back and redoing it is oh yeah, and I have so it's like all about me. So I load my recent resumes, key capabilities, the 2-pager exercise that we did at the beginning of this project, and I keep refreshing it, so it has a summary of like who I am and what I do. That's fairly recent. I also have specific notebooks for, because I'm looking at the 3 categories of jobs: voice of the customer, knowledge management, and escalations. So I have my all of the knowledge management resumes here. So then it helps me aggregate my knowledge management accomplishments and achievements, so it's easier to remember when I'm preparing for a conversation and also for stuff like cover letter. But it's like analysis of what I did, all of my achievements, and it summarizes it, and it again points to the source of like in which resume did I mention that. Just really cool.
I like that. I like that.
And escalations. I record my therapy conversations so I can refer to them later. I haven't updated it.
I love that. That's given me a lot to think about and ways to use it. I've got some other projects that I'm tinkering with. I have the free version, and so this is helpful.
Yeah, and it's just I find more and more ways of using it as I use it. It just became my go-to, and I'm canceling my subscription to Readwise because this is so much more valuable and powerful.
I kind of feel like Shelley or either of you, I mean, depending on how happy you are with the automated mind map, you could even use that potentially in a presentation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that potentially could come up in your discussion with your guy about this new job. If you show him this is how I'm thinking of it, all these essentially any of those things are jobs to be done, right? And that it just whether he knows that Notebook LM did that automatically or it doesn't really matter. It's still just anything visual helps, certainly in this kind of a medium, right? When we're on just on a screen. So yeah, I think keep that in mind. Especially Shelley, especially you're already if you're working, right? You could just it's not like it has to be the perfect polished presentation, but you could even say,
Right.
I dropped all this stuff in here. This mind map, I think, is really helpful to think for us to think about how we might organize things, right?
Yep.
And to do that in another mind mapping tool would just be a lot more work. I mean, in this case, you just
Yeah.
you push one button and then obviously you have to agree. You have to have at least nominal agreement with these categories, but you can test that out ahead of time.
So what I'm doing is, again, in preparation, I do like deep dive on the hiring manager. So for this particular job, I loaded all of his presentations, webinars, AMAs, and I have a mind map of his perspective on support strategy, which is like really, really helpful. I wish this were you know what? It's new. It's not linkable. Okay. It wasn't clickable up until probably just like yesterday. So now it can link you back to where to the original source, which is really great. Yep.
Cool.
That's brand new. Well,
Yeah, I played with the mind map a little bit last week for something else. Like,
I love mind maps. They want thing is like, yeah, you have to agree with their way of aggregating it, and you cannot edit it. And I don't think last time I checked it wasn't exportable to a mind manager, but I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah, but again, you could potentially, or Shelley, since she has real world use cases, she could potentially game the system a little bit. She could load in the documents that represented the 10 projects her teams are already working on, or these are the 20 people we might want to meet with. And so she can sort of force the way that it might then turn into a mind map.
And can take a screenshot, give it to Claude, and ask Claude to put it in a format that it's exportable or importable into a mind manager tool, which is like like my thinking process is greatly enhanced by the mind maps, where I can just move things around and see connections and reposition them.
There's a little download button there in the upper right corner. What does that do?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is let's see what it is.
It downloads it as a PNG.
Oh, okay. It's an image. Sure.
Well, so that's PNG. Then you can bring into Claude and ask him to break it into an outline format that you can just then bring into.
Just even you could drop it into any kind of a document. At least it's like somewhere to start from if people could add notes or something.
Yeah.
It's not as completely interactive as it might be in Miro or something else, but still, I mean, it took a second to click that button and to have it draw this.
And I love it, and as a research tool. It's just amazing. Okay, I think we are over time.
Yeah.
And any questions, just ping me. I'll be happy to jump on a quick Zoom.
Hey, well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna start monkeying around. I hadn't thought about creating a profile for the COO who I'll be interviewing with, and I already did collect some information
there we go.
about her. So that's kind of an interesting
Yep.
exercise. Yeah. And then using that to help anticipate some of the questions.
Right.
But, all right.
And
Well, thank you, Anna.
ask questions of her, because you will get a better insight.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Talk to you guys
See you
next
guys.
week. Good luck,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
You too.
The